Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking, and this is Museum Rush. Museum Rush is a game for 2 to 4 players, and each person is going to be taking on the role of a master thief that has broken into a museum, strangely, at the same time as up to 3 other thieves. And you're all going to be running about the museum, trying to snag the best treasures for yourself, fighting amongst each other, and fighting the guards that happen to be within the museum, and fighting the like traps that other thieves place for you, and like also the security measures and what have you. And eventually what happens is that it gets late enough that the museum is going to open up again for the next morning, and you need to get out of there. And so it's kind of a race against time as well. It is a kind of a lighthearted game, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have some tough decisions, because there's definitely some risk-reward things going on and some wonderful reveal moments that I enjoyed a great deal. So let me show you how the game is played, and we'll come back here and I'll give you my final thoughts. So this is Museum Rush, and I have set the game up in the 4x7 standard grid that you see in front of you. The game actually says that you don't have to play with a rectangle. You could definitely just use one of these other definitions, and it says, you know, international crime spree, and so you can kind of set up like you're going to the Acropolis, or the British Museum, or the Met, or the Hermitage, or what have you, or even the Louvre, if you will. So you can definitely set this up however you like. And obviously, the grid is probably going to give you, like, you know, the best, like your best chance, I guess, as far as your maneuverability, because the other ones obviously will have gaps and will make it difficult to get from point A to point B at times. But regardless, this is set up randomly. Each one of these tiles is exactly that. It's just a tile, and you set them out, like you shuffle them up and place them, slap them down as I've done already. There are a few different types of tiles. Some of these, like these ones with the blue, these are like special type of rooms, like here these archives. Like Archives B and Archives A, they're considered to have like a secret path between the two of those, so they hook up. Some of the things like the ladies' room or the gents' room, the restrooms, you are able to hide in those from guards because they don't check the stalls, so you can hide. The entrance hall here has this little symbol on there that allows you to escape. The control room, if you go into the control room, you're allowed to turn off one camera if you're in that room, and so like you're able to disable a camera that you can walk by. Two other rooms that are important are the vault and the lost and found. As you are racing through the museum, chances are a guard's going to catch you at some point. Now the guards don't arrest you. What they do is they take away everything that you have save for one card, because you hide it on yourself. Usually that's going to be a treasure that you want to keep, and then they pitch you out of the museum. Everything that was stolen, if it's a treasure, it gets put in the vault. If it is anything else, like an item that you use, like a booby trap or a lure or whatever, it goes into the lost and found. And you'll notice that they have these little keys on there. You are able, if you're able to take down a guard, you're able to take their keys. And if you have keys, which are represented by these little green chits here, you're able to, like, say, unlock the vault and take all the treasures that happen to be in there. Obviously very, very powerful, and if you're able to do that after somebody else lost some really good stuff, maybe even this big giant diamond, then you'll be able to like pull off quite the heist without using the fruits of somebody else's labors. All right, so these other rooms that are in red, they have either they have 2 cards that are placed down there randomly in each one, and then the rooms that are the high security rooms, which you can tell they have these locks on the side. The high security rooms get a rare treasure placed in them. The rare treasures are placed specifically in the rooms that they have. The crown diamond goes into the grand exhibit hall. The skeleton goes into the FL gallery, things like that. But they still have those 2 cards underneath them. After you've done that, you turn over, because these are put face up, you turn over the top card of each of the rooms that is left as far as the other loot cards. And one of 3 things will happen. It'll either be a camera card, which you see right here, and then it just stays right there. It'll be a loot card, which you can see here, like this violin that's in this location, or perhaps this vase down here, if you will. And sometimes you'll pull over a guard card, and I'll just show you one just so you can see what it looks like. Like here's Susan, the guard with 12 cats. And when that happens, you just take the card, you put it off to the side, and then you replace it with one of these guard little dudes here. Now what that means is that as the game progresses, you're going to, there's more guard cards hiding underneath all of these piles, and as the game progresses, more and more of these guards are going to start showing up in the museum, making it more and more difficult for you and the other thieves to successfully steal these treasures. Alright, so that's how you set up the board. Then each person will get just a thief card, and this is just the person that you will be playing. And then they have special powers, like the Joker picks up booby traps so they don't work on him. The cat can move diagonally. The Cipher activates security room or control room from 3 spaces away. So they have special powers that allow them to break the rules. Each person will get a buyer. This will be a person that basically has sent you to the museum to steal these items, and then they give you extra money for certain types of things. So you might be going for those to earn that extra 2 million cash if you're able to pull that off. Like here, Keon wants for each vase and mosaic will give you 2 million more, and that can sometimes be the difference between winning and losing the game. Finally, each person will be given a stash card. This will be a spot on the board that you're going to keep secret from the other people. That if you are in that spot, say you are in the vending machine, you can stash 1 loot or treasure in the cafeteria. You can go into the cafeteria and you are able to, which would be up there in that spot, you can go into the cafeteria and you can take 1 loot card and put it underneath the stash and put this in front of you, and you can't lose that item. The idea is that you'd come back the next morning and you get it out of that thing without anybody being any the wiser, because you're able to hide the treasure in that spot. Alright, so that's, now we've taken care of setup. So how do you play the game? Well, to begin the game, each person will pick a spot somewhere along the edge of the board. I am just putting these things down. I'm not purposely trying to pick good spots or bad spots or whatever. They have to take one that's along the edge. This is the entrance hall. You don't have to be in the entrance hall. The idea is that maybe you've hidden in the museum. They shut down the place. They've closed the doors, and now you've come out of your hiding spot. Now, determine a first player, however you're going to do that, and then you're going to start taking your turn. On your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to draw 2 of these clue cards. These are cards that give you some different abilities depending on what you have, and I'll show those to you all in just a second. And then you're going to move up to 3 spaces, and then you're going to take a steal action in the spot that you're at, if you want to or if you can. Steal actions can be something as simple as being in a spot with a loot like this vase here and just taking that item. That's pretty simple. That's a steal action. A steal action will alert the guards, and there's other things that will alert guards as well, and I'll talk about the guards and how they react to you here in just a few moments. You can steal one of these if you're in a spot that has like the vault or the lost and found, and you have keys. You can use your steal action to do that. If you're in a location that has like up here, this rare treasure that has a painting in the Jade Gallery that has this number 1, you can attempt to crack the code for the room. To crack the code, what you'll do is you'll take all 3 dice and you'll roll them, and you're trying to match the number. So I'm looking for a 1 in this case. I didn't get a 1, so when I didn't get the 1, now I've alerted the guards to my location, and because of the fact that I'm making noise and I can't get the door open. However, if I had acquired a key, and I'll talk about how it works, I'm going to have one of these green chits, I can use that to cover up that spot, and then I can successfully open that door. However, if then, after I successfully open it, I decide that I'm going to take that painting, that will still alert the guards as per normal, because I guess I'm tearing it down off the wall as I'm doing that. Thieves that are in the same spot can fight and try to steal from one another. In this case, each person will roll a 6-sided die, and whoever rolls higher wins. Now, I just rolled 2 4s, meaning that we got a tie. In a case of a tie, there's the attacker's advantage. Whoever's turn it is who decided to initiate the combat between the other person would win that battle and would be able to take 1 random card from that person's hand and put it into their own. While I'm talking about cards, there is a maximum of 7 cards in your hand at any time. Before the end of your turn, if you have more than 7, you have to discard cards. If you discard a card that is a treasure or a loot, it goes immediately into the vault. It doesn't stay in the spot. Apparently, the janitor comes by and picks it up and puts it away. And if it's an item, it goes into the lost and found. So it immediately goes to those locations. So you might have noticed that, like, the Grand Exhibit has 4 numbers, 4 5s on it. When you're rolling the dice, obviously you only have 3. You're going to need at least 1 key if you're really lucky and you roll 3 5s, or you can keep trying to open it. So, like, if you try to open it and you fail, you can stay on that spot, and, like, let's say you got 2 5s, you can stay on that spot, you can cover the 2 5s, and they're going to stay covered for you if you stay in that same spot and keep trying. Now, obviously, you're ringing the dinner bell, so to speak, for the guards, and also telling the other players, here, come quick and do something to me and take me down. But, you know, you can stay there and keep working on that door to try to get it open. Once these are open, they're open. They don't close after you've gone or anything like that. But doors that you failed and got caught or whatever will go back to being locked, for the other thieves. If another thief happens on the same spot, they cannot start working on that door as well. So if you're there and you're working on it, you're the only thief that can work on breaking into that particular spot until, like, you either succeed or you fail, and then another thief can have a shot. All right, so thieves, guards. If 2 thieves fight, basically you're punching each other and making a lot of noise. Guards will be alerted as well. Guards are basically going to be alerted by anything that you would think would be out of the ordinary. If you walk by a camera and you aren't able to disable it, the guards are awarded. If you happen upon a booby trap and you get you can't get away from the booby trap, the guards are alerted. If you steal something, guards are alerted, and so on and so forth. Just guards, the way guards are alerted is the person to your right will move the guard, and they move the guard that is closest to you, and they move 2 spaces. They can't move diagonally, and so in this case, let's say these 2 decided to fight over something. The person to the person's right, this turn, they're going to move 2, and they go 1, 2. They can't quite make it into that spot, but if they continue to fight or something else happens in there, then obviously the guard will show up in that spot. Okay, so guard enters into your area where your thief is. What do? Well, that's where these clue cards come in, or these, like, basically the cards that break the rules, if you will. Some cards allow you to take down a guard. If you have this, you knock out the guard, and then you steal a key, winning one of those green chips, and you send the guard away. Some of these will be lure cards. And if you get a lure card, you play it, and it moves the guard 1 space away from you. And you notice, like, this game definitely has a good sense of humor. Llamas, move a guard 1 tile. So, like, your lure is you let a bunch of llamas loose in the museum, which is something I liked about this game. I like the fact that it did take a very lighthearted approach to it, and definitely encouraged that family kind of friendly atmosphere, if you will. Booby traps are actually just placed on an adjacent tile from you, and if a fellow thief happens upon this and can't do anything about it, they alert guards and they're stopped. And also, if a guard happens upon this, then they go back to the security room when that happens. I should mention that when you move your 3 spaces, you can't just walk through something. Any space that has a camera or a booby trap or a guard, you have to take care of it or experience that particular location. You can't stop it. Now, some of these will be like these cards that say way out. And so then you place this, it's a fire escape, and you place next to the edge room. So wherever you are, so let's just say, your character is here, you'd actually have 2 options, because you'd place it to the nearest edge. You could place it here, or here. And when you place it there, that then becomes a way out. And you're able to, get to that spot and like escape. Now you can escape at any time. If you think you have enough treasures to win, remember you have a maximum of 7 cards. You can't, and there's a risk reward of carrying a bunch of stuff, which you don't have you're carrying a bunch of treasure, but you don't have enough stuff to actually like, take down guards or what have you. So you run that risk, right? But at any time you can step out and you can say, I'm done, my guy escapes, and he's count up your treasure and hope the other players don't get above you. Now you might be saying, well, why wouldn't I do that? And then the thing is that in this deck of cards, you're going to find these clock cards. And the clock cards basically tell you that it's getting close to being time where the museum, the people are going to come to work the next morning, and you're going to need to get out of there. And if it says 4, 5, or 6, because 4 clock cards is 2 players, 3 players, and 4 players. So if you're playing all 4, you have to get 6 clock cards drawn. And immediately when these things are drawn, you play them immediately. And it's the same thing with these way out cards. You have to play them immediately. So when you, as soon as it is time, if you haven't escaped yet and the 6 clock card comes out, each person has to find a way out. And they're also going to end up likely losing a few things. So they're going to try to path to make it out. So like undoubtedly there's going to be cards like this, or there's going to be cards just the entrance hall as well. And mind you, the entrance hall doesn't have to be on an edge. It just happened to do that when I set it up. And you're going to count how many spaces you have to exit. So like 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2 for red over there, or 1, 2 over here for yellow. There's basically a 50-50 shot. You roll for each spot. You roll a 50-50 shot. And if you you lose 1 card of your choice for every time that you fail on that roll. Then you also are going to roll an extra one for booby traps and guards that you happen to go through on the path that you lead. So you have to kind of plot your route, and but you get out, right? And then you discard a certain number of cards, and then everybody then at that point compares the value of the treasures that they were able to escape with from the museum, and count any bonuses that they get from their buyer cards, and whoever made the most money wins the game. It is a lot of fun. Like I said, it definitely has a family-friendly atmosphere. It reminded me a lot of games I played when I was a kid, and I was racking my brain before I made this video as to it was just something about like turning over the treasures and like seeing the dollar amounts. I remember doing that in some game that I really, really enjoyed when I was like in my like 5th, 6th, 7th grade type of thing. I remember, and I don't know what it was. I just can't remember. But there's something just cool about like when you turn these cards over. Oh, and I actually didn't tell you. So like when you actually successfully steal it. So like, let's say you unlock this one, and you're gonna peel this card. So then you take this, and what you do is you automatically reveal the next card underneath it. And sometimes it'll be another loot card. And if you want to, you can stay in that spot and loot the next card. But of course, that's another action. Of course, then you're calling more attention to yourself. And each time you do that, you turn the next card over, and like finally, like here's a camera. And so now I'd have to have something to disable that camera, or else they're going to be seen and the guards are going to come. Sometimes you will have a card. Let me see if this one has one. Like you steal this and you turn it over, and oh, okay, so yeah, there's a guard. And so then you'd take a guard and you'd have to place it in a spot adjacent to you. They're not on the same spot. It's basically like the guards have like begun their rounds, and you hear the footsteps in a spot that's next to you. And so that's the risk you run when you keep turning cards over. But you have to kind of keep turning those cards over because you want to get more loot and what have you. But anyway, so I like that. I like that whole like tension of turning the next card over to see what you get kind of thing. But you have to do it, right? Or else you can't get any points. But like I said, I had a lot of fun with this one, just because of just like how straightforward it was, and like the push your luck atmosphere, and plus it's just like a real family friendly game that I enjoyed with my family. But let me talk more about that in my final thoughts. All right, thanks for learning how to play Museum Rush. Man, I am the entire time I played the game, the entire time now that I was doing this video, I've been racking my brain. I mean, I can picture that game where like you turned a card over and there was like treasure or something like gold or whatever, and it was like a different amount. And it was a kid. Yeah, I was young. I mean, I was, like I said, I was like in 4th, 5th, 6th grade or something like that. But I remember playing with my family a lot, and I'll fully admit that there is like that weird nostalgia thing going on for me when I played this game, and I just enjoyed it. It's kind of a weird version of reverse like Stop Thief in a way. Maybe this is the theme, being the bad guy, and like. I think that really helped as far as playing with my family. There's something cool about, being like the robber without having to go to jail or something, So being able to play the bad guy, it always appeals to us. Now, and this isn't like one of those bad guys where you're killing people either. This is like a light bad guy thing where you just kind of get to go and maybe steal some gems and a painting or a vase and then get the heck out of there. I really enjoyed playing this with my family. My daughter just would cackle with glee when I would turn the card over and I'd see a guard card would pop up, so I'd have to place the guard. The art and the jokes are admittedly the first time you read them, they're a lot funnier than the 10th time you read them, but still, my kids really like that. They like the looks. The game presents itself as a very family-friendly game, and it is a very family-friendly game. You can teach it really quickly, and even my 6-year-old son was like, he was catching on, and knowing what he should do, and like he definitely liked going to like the places with the security and seeing the numbers and being able to try to roll the dice to hit those numbers. So there's like cool stuff as far as that's concerned as well. Now, when I played with my family, like, my family would just gang up on me and just send all the guards. Send the guards towards Dad! Like that kind of thing. Which, fine. I can play the sore luck loser and just for the enjoyment of all. But when I played this with my gaming group, obviously it took a way more tactical and strategic bend, if you will, but it still held up really well. I mean, it was definitely a lighter game. It isn't one that is going to tax your brain at all. But as far as something where you can just play it and like kind of turn your mind off and kind of talk and gab and enjoy yourself while you're doing it, really cool. And when I played it with my friends, my gaming group friends, all my friends are gaming group friends, but anyway, we definitely used the other maps. We didn't use like the standard map. We used the crazy, configurations or whatever, and that definitely does add a lot of difficulty, because of the fact that normally, like, there's one thief that can move diagonally, but you can't move diagonally normally, so there's this problem where you have to figure out, and like there's a lot of times when you'll be in a corridor where you just can't escape and the guards are on either side and there's nothing you can do. So definitely have some options there as far as when you're playing where you can trap players and get them in spots where they can't really do much, and due to the varied layout and the different things that you can do, this game's got a lot of replayability and a lot of fun at that. So there you go. That is Museum Rush. If you have any questions about it, please ask away. I'll be happy to answer those as best as I can. As always, thank you very much for your time and watching this video. And until next time, I'm the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.